person who dreams of being successful someday? What attitudes and values do you possess that you think will help you succeed? Were there times where you feel like you are close to giving up? What pushes you to stand again and continue to move forward? To strive for success is not an easy task for each and every dreamer in the world. Along the journey, we will encounter challenges that will test our capacities and strengths. We will also confront hindrances that may block our path. But despite the challenges that life may throw at us, we should be ready and prepared to know the proper response and action to every situation. Part of that preparation is to learn from the experiences of successful people across the globe. Through their different stories, we could get lessons that we could apply to achieve our aspirations in life. More than that, they will also inspire us to continue striving and believing in the beauty of our dreams. In this book, you will witness the stories of various people who became successful in their distinct fields. From their stories, you would see the values and strategies that they have used to succeed. Aside from that, you would also grasp the reasons that keep them moving. Despite the battles they faced, they still chose to continue and hold on to their envisioned goals. Alexander Graham Bell. Most of the people living in this world have different views on success. Perhaps some are dreaming of being rich, while others are just aiming to contribute something to this world. Regardless of those definitions, all we know is that we have our way of making those dreams happen. However, when things are not going our way and we feel lost, we must know how to get back to our victory path. To achieve this, we should consider bringing the attitudes that would bring us closer to success. These include perseverance, concentration, and immersing ourselves in an environment that could motivate us. Most importantly, we should also develop our ability to not let every negative judgment that we hear stop us from being successful. Instead, we should make the world hear our success, no matter how it may seem impossible for others. Alexander Graham Bell was one such man. A man who was once called crazy for believing in things that many people thought to be nonsense. But now, he's considered one of the most successful inventors in the world. He was raised in a family of inventors. His father was a distinguished educator and an inventor of a system of visible speech, while his grandfather was known for inventing a method of removing barriers to speech. Alexander Bell first became a teacher of the students who cannot hear and speak. He also became a professor at Boston University in the United States. For 9 years, he spent his pastime delivering sounds through electric current. After years of his research, he was able to complete his first telephone. When his invention was exhibited, many saw it only as a toy and not something that would be of great use to people and businesses. When the majority are throwing criticisms to his work, Alexander Bell is overcoming the judgments that he received through believing in himself and the purpose of his creation. Deep within himself, he knew that his telephone would bring a practical purpose to the people and the industry, so he persevered. He tried hard not to listen to people's doubts, but rather he chose to focus on improving his work. Time passed and his telephone was called to be a blessing as it introduced new business and industry to the world. His invention made him and his company wealthy. Aside from this, Alexander Bell also received an award from the Japanese emperor for his achievement and contributions to society. The story of Alexander Graham Bell just shows how perseverance and focus on our goals are important attributes in reaching success. If we keep listening to people's doubts about our dreams, we will quickly get lost on the path. In our journey to becoming successful, we should develop our ability and believe in ourselves no matter how impossible it may seem to the eyes of others. John Wanamaker. As individual dreamers, we often look for stories of successful people and find the attitudes that help them succeed. Then we attempt to apply those attitudes, hoping that they could also lead us to success. Although those attitudes are beneficial in our path, we should also know that there is another factor that we should also have to become successful in life. That is being ready and equipped. To be ready and equipped means having the skills necessary to overcome the challenges that we may encounter along the way. It is about investing in ourselves, seeking wisdom, and learning from experiences. By doing these, we are then preparing ourselves to achieve anything, despite the circumstances that may arise. John Wanamaker is a successful merchant born in Philadelphia. Like his father, John was a very hardworking man ever since he was little. At a very young age, he was able to earn and save money from assisting his father in his brickyard business. When John was 14, his father died, which changed the course of his life. He abandoned the brickyard and worked in a bookstore with a salary of $1.25 a week. All his money was spent on buying books for his mother until her death. When everything's broken and gone for John, all he did was develop his only capital. These are good habits, a clear mind, and a tireless devotion to his duty. A little later, he earnestly worked in a clothing store. All of the people liked John on how he worked. When he started selling, all of his customers were amazed at how John handled his job. He was always considerate, accommodating, and glad to assist people. Aside from these, he was also very ambitious. Soon after, John became the first salaried secretary of the Young Men's Christian Association, that is the YMCA, and he worked there for 7 years. At 24, he partnered with his brother-in-law in opening the Oak Hall clothing store. With his great capacity to do business, he was able to succeed in anything that he took care of. John was always known for providing high-quality products and services to the customers. Through his excellent management, he was able to lift the clothing business to another level. After 10 years, John decided to build his own business and became the leading merchant in their city. When asked about his secret to success, John answered that it is by being persistent we truly succeed. In his story, it can be seen how he always put his full energy into his works. He also was not scared of pushing himself beyond his limits to achieve more. Apart from this, John Wanamaker also added that his view on life was to constantly invest in himself. This means always seeking knowledge and learning from his experiences. By applying all the lessons and wisdom that he learned, John Wanamaker was able to be successful in life. Thomas A. Edison. The man who does many things at once cannot compare himself to a man who focused all his abilities to master his own craft. That is the secret of Mr. Thomas Edison. He was born in a low-income family and he was not a dreamer. He did not even like mathematics. Back then, he was just a newsboy who was happy to earn a little money from his work. However, when Thomas discovered what he liked and what his goal was, he did not let go of it. Instead, he devoted himself to it. He went through many obstacles. His grandfather was a man of high standing in New York, but they suffered financially. So Thomas's family moved to Michigan when he was just 7 years old. That event in his life forced him to work at a very young age. His love for inventing came upon him when he built a laboratory on the train where he works. Back then, Thomas used to experiment with things in his little laboratory. Unfortunately, a complication happened that caused him not to hear well. His hearing complication did not affect much to his work. He even saved the life of a boy that was playing on a track near the depot. In return, the child's father taught him all about telegraphy. His devotion to learning earned him to become a regular employee under a railroad company and be one of the most expert operators they had. However, Thomas still did not give up his love for inventing during this time. Using his skill in his work, he managed to invent an automatic attachment to his telegraph instrument, an automatic telegraph recorder, and more while working on the road. Thomas Edison did not have sudden popularity in his field. Instead, he just received his first license for an invention he made in 1869. That invention is the machine for recording votes. Sadly, that invention was not used by people. By that time, he realized that if he were to create something again, it had to be practical. So in his every invention, he always makes sure that it will be helpful to people. Throughout the years, Thomas Edison was believed to have patented over 600 inventions. These inventions are the result of his tireless devotion to his work. In his interview, he said that he used to work for at least 14 hours a day. He also spent all his money buying learning resources and materials that would help him solve every problem. Through his inventions, he contributed to the betterment of society. He earned a huge amount of money and brought pride to his nation. Thomas Edison's success story was achieved by devoting all of his energy, time, and effort to doing what he is most interested in. By focusing on his passion for inventing and applying it to a practical end, he created things that people needed and supported. As dreamers who crave success, we also must be willing to spend most of our energies and time working hard. Additionally, we should also find out what we really want and focus on mastering it. By undergoing this process, it will surely bring us closer to success. John D. Rockefeller. Every person in this world takes different routes on their journey to success. There may be no shortcuts, but there are many ways to achieve success only if we know how to look at things from different angles. In doing so, we would collect new insights that will open new paths and ideas. In taking our road to success, we should be reminded to live within our own means. This means that what another person is walking on might not be the one for us. Therefore, we should just focus on taking our own steps and trusting in our process. In time, everything will fall into its place. John D. Rockefeller is considered the wealthiest American of all time. He was born on his father's farm on July 8, 1839, and he belonged to a middle-class family. His parents were industrious, diligent, and church-going. At 14, John wanted not to be dependent on the people he loved, so in summer he decided to work on a farm and earn his way. His youthful days were spent working all day long. When he was 16, John went to Cleveland, Ohio, to work as an office boy. There he learned a great deal about business methods. More than that, he also realized that if he wanted to accomplish many things, he needs to work very hard. John left school at 18, and unlike others, he decided to earn money for his mother and brother. He received an offer as a billing clerk, and later on, he had his business in flour milling. While working, all John did was to keep a book and monitor his expenses and savings. As a person, he highly believes in the value of money. John thought that a man's duty was to earn, keep, and give money in all ways he can. So he lives within his own means, only buying the things he could afford and need. Along with that, he also donated money to charities and to the church. In applying the things he learned, John was able to own a warehouse and produce business with a partner. Before he turned 25, he managed to save $10,000. John Rockefeller always paved his own path, finding new ideas on earning money, just like when he got interested in crude oil. While other people were obsessed with buying lands or wells for oil, John looked at this business opportunity from a different angle and saw that this oil needs refining to be safely used by people. Along with a partner who knows the refining process of this oil, John Rockefeller opened a refinery. The demand for their service was great, to the point that they managed to open a second branch in a short amount of time. Later, John's refinery merged with Standard Oil Company, where his yearly salary reached about $16 million. The corporation became the greatest business combination of modern times. From John's story, it can be seen how he always looks at things from different angles and comes up with new ideas. He has good judgment and he likes weighing things before taking action. At a very young age, he already possessed the value of perseverance. Despite the risks, John Rockefeller was able to achieve things persistently. Beyond his personal success, he also extended his achievements through helping people and donating to charities. Indeed, John Rockefeller did not just become the wealthiest American in terms of money, but also in having a rich and good heart. Andrew Carnegie. Whether small or big, every opportunity can push us beyond our limits, only if we let them do. As individuals who continue to work for our dreams, it is our responsibility to do our best and exceed the expectations of others. In challenging ourselves to do more, we suddenly realize that we are getting closer to our goals. More than that, it also makes us see that there is still a greater version of ourselves. It is a version that not anyone can gain, as they are scared to dream big. Andrew Carnegie begins life in Dunfermline, Scotland. When he was 10 years old, he began earning his way to Pittsburgh. He first worked as a bobbin boy and an engine man in a cotton factory. Then, he became a messenger boy for a telegraph company. At his age, Andrew never experienced going to school, but he tried hard to educate himself. In the area where he lived, he met Colonel Anderson, who owns a library. Every Saturday, the colonel used to lend books to working boys. Andrew took that as an opportunity to learn. After some time, Andrew received an offer from his uncle asking him to work as a messenger boy in Allegheny City. At first, his father objected. But after knowing that his wage would cost $2.50, his father eventually let him work. In less than a month, Andrew asked his superintendent to teach him about operating a telegraph. He usually spent his spare time practicing what he learned. When he could finally do well, he waited for the opportunity to apply as an operator. Pretty soon, he got promoted to the position. Not long after his promotion, his father died. At that time, the burden of supporting his family fell upon his shoulders. As an operator, Andrew earned $25 a month and a little additional money by copying messages for the newspapers. His job helped him to provide for his family. Later on, an opportunity knocked again as he became an operator at Pennsylvania Railroad Company. Then, when he showed that the telegraph could cater to railroad safety and success, he got promoted as a secretary. Soon after, Andrew Carnegie became the superintendent of the Western Division. Through continually striving beyond what was expected of him, he was able to achieve more. In the early 1870s, he entered the steel business that led to the American steel industry expansion. He also likes to invest in things that he thought would bring him a huge profit. In the late 19th century, Andrew Carnegie became one of the richest men in America. More than that, he also became the leading philanthropist in the United States and the British Empire. In the city of Pittsburgh, he has built a library, a museum, a concert hall, and a picture gallery all under one roof. Andrew Carnegie also purchased the best works of American art. All these structures were made to help people be educated even when they lacked the privilege to do so. Carnegie believes that by extending his generosity, he would make the life of others easier to live with. During an interview, Carnegie said that the reason behind his success was to believe that he is capable of greater trust and usefulness. When he was just working in a low position, he always tries to work beyond what was expected of him. He also always loves learning, and that brought him to achieving success. In terms of getting rich, he said that his secret was to save money early and consistently. When he began working, he already started saving too. Later, he learned the power of investing and soon became an investor of the things he thought would be profitable. Like Andrew Carnegie, we also have the capacity to become wealthy and successful only if we try to apply the values that he possessed. By always aiming to excel in a chosen field, we would be drawn closer to success. Therefore, we should always attempt to do beyond what we were asked to do in every work that we do. When we made it a habit, we will soon realize that we are becoming more of the person we aspire to be. Conclusion. In this book, you have met the people who became successful in their lives. They are Alexander Graham Bell, John Wanamaker, Thomas Edison, John D. Rockefeller, and Andrew Carnegie. Through their stories, you have gathered lessons that you could apply as you take your own path to success. You have also known the values that these people possess on their journey of reaching their dreams: perseverance, hard work, investing in oneself, seeking wisdom, and many more. When applied, these values will certainly prepare you as you pursue your dreams and goals in life. Despite the personal struggles that these people faced, they still chose to go beyond their limits. In their stories, you have seen how they did not let the challenges stop them from becoming successful. Remember that if you truly want to be successful, you have to be limitless. No matter what your situation is, there is one phrase you can forever carry through. No matter what your situation is, no one can stop you from reaching success. Just do your best always, and success will find its way to you. So I hope you like the summary as well as our efforts behind